up? My name is Leif, and today I'm going to show you how I build vegan meals for fat loss versus muscle growth. So the main difference between fat loss versus muscle growth meals is the number of calories that the meal contains. So to burn body fat, you must consume fewer calories than you burn every day. This is known as a caloric deficit. To build muscle, you must consume more calories than you burn every day. This is known as a caloric surplus. A sufficient protein intake is also important for preserving your lean muscle mass when you are focusing on fat loss and building lean muscle when you are focusing on muscle growth. The real differentiator between fat loss nutrition and muscle growth nutrition is total calorie intake. Many people who are working to burn fat end up feeling hungry through the process. That is a common occurrence when dieting, but it doesn't have to be. First of all, make sure that you are following a moderate, not an extreme caloric deficit. Generally speaking, a 20% caloric deficit is a good place to start for most people. For someone who burns 2,500 calories in a day, a 20% caloric deficit would mean that you are consuming 80% of your total burned calories, or 2,000 calories, from food. Conversely, some people struggle to eat enough calories when working to build muscle. Struggling to not eat too many calories during a fat loss period or struggling to not eat enough calories during a muscle building phase are both easy fixes. And both can be fixed by understanding the importance of caloric density. Caloric density is just a measure of how many calories a food contains per unit volume. For example, celery contains about 65 calories per pound, while peanut butter contains a whopping 2,700 calories per pound. When you are focusing on fat loss, you should aim to consume lots of fruits and vegetables, especially vegetables, because they will add a lot of volume to your meals without adding a ton of calories. This will fill you up and minimize your hunger throughout the day. But if you are constantly filling up on these healthy, low-calorie foods when you are working to build muscle, then you might struggle to eat enough calories to maintain a caloric surplus. If this is a problem for you, then you should aim to eat more calorie-dense healthy foods like potatoes, grains, avocados, nuts and seeds, and dried fruits like dried mango, figs, and dates. So now that you understand the importance of your calorie intake and choosing the right foods, I'm going to take you into the kitchen and show you how I build a meal for fat loss and how I build a meal for muscle growth. Welcome to the kitchen. We have two types of stir fry that we're going to be making. So we have a tofu muscle building stir fry over here, and then we have a tofu fat loss stir fry over here. So what I'm going to be doing is walking you through the creation of both of these meals and showing you the importance of focusing on the right foods when it comes to calorie density and making sure that you have your calories in order for muscle growth versus fat loss. So let's jump right in and start cooking. So we're gonna get things cooking with the fat loss stir fry, and I have the base of the stir fry, or the things I'm gonna throw in first, which are ginger, soy sauce, and some garlic. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop some of this up. Not the best ginger. Well, it will have to do because it's the only ginger I have. So when you're coming up with fat loss meals, it really comes down to just making sure that you're getting enough volume in. So that's why I've chosen a lot of these vegetables. They're very low in their calorie density, so we can eat a lot of food for few calories, and that's gonna help you feel satiated throughout the day when you're focusing on fat loss. So the goal is to not feel hungry while you're focusing on fat loss, and that's going to make it easier to be consistent with your nutrition. All right, so now I have the ginger all chopped up, and I'm going to put in some soy sauce. So I chose soy sauce because it has the right taste for the stir fry, and it's also very low in calories, and it's going to give the kind of base that I need for some liquid to be able to actually stir fry the veggies and tofu. One really great hack for keeping the calories lower when you're cooking on a stovetop is to make sure that you have a high quality nonstick pan. That will enable you to not need oil, and oil just has a ton of calories without actually adding any nutrition. So you definitely don't want to be adding oil when you are focusing on fat loss. So ideally, when you are weighing foods, especially when your goal is fat loss, you should be weighing in terms of grams instead of using measuring cups or measuring spoons or something like that. It's just going to be more accurate, so you know that you have the exact number of calories to be adding to your meal. All right, so we have the base of the fat loss stir fry here, and I'm going to start sauteing it. All right, so while that is starting to saute, I'm going to chop up the tofu. For this recipe, I'm going to use 3/4 of a block of extra firm tofu. So to get 3/4, I'm just going to be chopping it in half, and then in half again to get quarters. All right, I'm going to put one of those aside, and these 3 I'm going to chop up to put into the stir fry. So now I just have little cubes. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in with the garlic, ginger, and soy sauce. All right, while the fat loss stir fry is starting to cook, I'm going to come over here and start the muscle building stir fry. So we're also going to use extra firm tofu as our protein. And I used this sesame garlic sauce. So I got this at Wegmans, but you can use any kind of sesame garlic sauce. And this is higher in calories than soy sauce or the other seasonings that I've been using for the fat loss stir fry. And that's okay because I'm focusing on a higher calorie intake for my muscle building goal. So I've gone ahead and I've chopped up the tofu. I did this yesterday, and then I put it into a marinade of sesame garlic sauce. So I found that this is a great way of prepping tofu in bulk. You can just go ahead and cube up tofu and then put it into a Tupperware container with some kind of sauce or marinade, and then it will be ready to go whenever you want to throw it in the air fryer or in the oven, or you can even use it on the stove top in a stir fry like I'm about to do. So we're going to go ahead and put in 32 pieces of this. 1, 2. All right, so I already had some of this in the marinade. I had probably about 2 tablespoons of this in the marinade with the tofu that I already put in. So now I'm going to go ahead and add another 4 tablespoons. So now we have our tofu started for both the fat loss stir fry and the muscle building stir fry. So now I'm going to go ahead and chop up all the veggies for both dishes. So my favorite fat loss veggies are zucchini. I also really love broccoli, cabbage. Adding kale to basically every meal just adds a lot of volume and lots of micronutrients, so nutrition, without adding many calories. So it's a great way to stay full and stay healthy and accomplish your fat loss goals. All right, so I realized I made a little bit of a mistake. I meant to use this pan for the fat loss stir fry and this one for the muscle building one, because there's going to be more volume for the fat loss stir fry. So I'm just going to quickly swap them. Let's do it. I don't know how to do a cool transition. All right, so apparently my cameraman just told me that's not how transitions work. So here you go. All right, so now that I got the pan switch, I got the broccoli in there. I'm starting to add some of the zucchini and the other vegetables that are going to take a little bit longer to cook. All right, we can have a nice little lesson here on calorie density. All right, so we're gonna add some peanut butter to the muscle building stir fry. So I'm gonna go ahead and get 2 tablespoons. And there's 2. So that is 190 calories. So just for a reference, this is normal hand size, 190 calories for peanut butter. So there's a lot more calories in peanut butter than most people think. We're gonna go ahead and put that into the stir fry. So now we're gonna go ahead and add the rest of the veggies to the fat loss stir fry. So now let's add the rice to the muscle building stir fry. Rice is generally a little bit higher in calories, so it's definitely something that you can fit into a fat loss meal plan, but I was opting for lots of volume with lower calories, so I didn't put any of the cooked rice in here. You can use something like cauliflower rice, which is much lower in calories and provides a lot of density and has a similar texture to rice, but I opted to just go with these other veggies for this stir fry. All right, and the final ingredient that I'm going to add in the muscle building stir fry . All right, so both stir fries are done, and now it's time to plate it up. This is so much food, it kind of hurts my wrist just holding it up. If it fills up the bowl this much, imagine how much this fills up your stomach. All right, and now the final step is to do our weigh-in of both stir fries. So I want to see how much each of these weighs. So we've got this other bowl to zero it out. Now let's go ahead with the muscle building meal. We got 2 pounds and 2.3 ounces. All right, so now for the fat loss stir fry, we have 2 pounds and 9.6 ounces. So this is over double the calories of this one, yet this one weighs more and it's more total volume, so this is going to be far more filling. All right, so now you know what a fat loss meal looks like versus a muscle building meal. So now let's go ahead and break down the nutrition. All right, so now that you've seen how I go through the process of building a fat loss versus a muscle building meal, let's jump into Chronometer and I'll show you all of the nutrition facts. So here's the fat loss meal. I've inputted all of the ingredients into Chronometer. And as we scroll down, you can see that this meal has 600 calories and about 58 grams of protein, 61 grams of carbs, and about 23 grams of dietary fats. So I can scroll down here so you can see the vitamins. You can also see how the minerals break down. And I've got protein in here as well. So now let's jump over and look at the muscle building meal. So I've inputted all the ingredients as well for the muscle building meal. They're all there. And this meal has 1,350 calories, about 75 grams of protein, 162 grams of carbs, and about 54 grams of dietary fats. So I'll scroll down here and you can see the vitamins in this meal. Then I'll also scroll down and we can see the minerals and then the amino acid profile breakdown. So I hope that you really enjoyed this breakdown of vegan fat loss nutrition versus vegan muscle building nutrition. And if you'd like to download a free guide that I created that really breaks down the best plant foods for both fat loss and muscle growth, then you can click the link in the description to download that for free. So thank you so much for your time and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.